confirmation of this interpretation and of this dream in verse 32, and I think it's so critical. Joseph, I think the idea is that Pharaoh's saying, why did God give you two dreams? Why do you have to tell it to me twice? And so in verse 32, now it's for the repeating of the dream to Pharaoh twice. It means that the matter is determined by God, and God will bring it about quickly. Joseph says the reason that God gave you two dreams that meant the same thing is so that you would know that it has been absolutely determined by God, and He will bring it about. And what's interesting about this is that when you think about the Joseph narrative and all that happens in Joseph's life, almost everything happens in pairs. Almost everything that happens in Joseph's life happens twice. He has two dreams. His brothers have two plans for him. He has two waves of temptation with Potiphar's wife. He has two humiliations. He has two exaltations. Everything that happens in Joseph's life happens in pairs. And so I can't help but wonder at this moment, as he says these words to Joseph, or to Pharaoh, if Joseph doesn't get a little smile on his face and think, this is exactly what God's been doing in my life. Over and over and over again, all along the way, God has been telling me, I'm in control, my purposes are fixed, and they will not be stopped. Over and over again, and Joseph, like two footsteps behind him, everywhere he goes, God is shouting to Joseph, I'm in control, my purposes are fixed, they will not be stopped. I'm in control, my purposes are fixed, they will not be stopped, Joseph. Write it down and take it to the bank. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And the only thing you have to be afraid of is not being faithful to me. What an encouragement to Joseph. That listen, Pharaoh's not really in control. Potiphar's not really in control. Potiphar's wife doesn't really have control. I'm in control. You just be faithful to me. I'm in control. My purposes are fixed. They will not be stopped. And all of us need to hear that this morning. God has not made any mistakes. He's not fallen asleep. He's not lost his page in the book. He is in control. His purposes are fixed, and they will not be stopped. And isn't this incredibly encouraging today? That we don't really have to be afraid. Because all these authorities who think they have so much power, they're not really in control. And the only thing that we have to fear is not being faithful to God right where He's placed us. I mean, every day I do this, not that I had any control to begin with, but I just relinquished control of my life and the world to God. And all I plead for is, God, help me today to be faithful. What an encouragement to Joseph. Then we see Joseph's consultation in verse 33. Joseph gives Pharaoh advice. I think it's a critical moment because all Pharaoh has really asked Joseph to do is to interpret the dream, right? And that's all he asked him to do. Just give me an interpretation. But Joseph takes it a step further. And I think it took some level of boldness. In fact, as I read these stories and study them, I try to put myself in Joseph's shoes because it just kind of brings the story to life. But I can't help but wonder if Joseph doesn't say, here's what the dream means. God has confirmed it. And I wonder if Joseph started to walk out of the room and said, hey, would you let me go home now? Can I just go free? I'm good. Let's get out of here.